Hey guys, welcome to my channel, Farm Charm Chic. I'm Emily and I like to do DIY inspiration on a budget. If you have not already subscribed to my channel, I would love if you would consider doing so. Today I'm participating in a Thrift Flip Thursday challenge where we have $10 to take to the thrift store and find some items to give a makeover to. If you'd like to see what I did, keep watching. Okay, I found these little wall-hanging sconce planter things at a garage sale, and the lady actually sold them to me for $1 a piece. They have their original tags on them. They were $15 a piece normally, so I think I got a good deal. I'm going to go ahead and take off the jars for now because I want to cover up this geometrical design. I kind of have an idea what I want to do with them, and I just want to start with a plain base. So I'm just going to give them both a couple of really good coats of paint to cover all of this design up. After the paint completely dries, I'm going to take some jumbo craft sticks and I'm going to cut them down to size to make a border around each one. I kind of want to mimic a barn door, so I'm going to do one of the sticks down the middle. So I'm trying to figure out the best way to trace off the lines that I need to cut. So I'm just going to hold that middle one down and I'm going to lay the borders all over this top one so I can trace, you can see me tracing there, the exact lines that I need to cut so that will fit down and slide right down in when I glue it down. I do this for each side. The next step I need to do is mark where I need to puncture a hole in the craft sticks so that way I can replace the jar and the screws will be able to fit through. So I use my tool called a crocodile. It works just like a hole punch, but it goes through metal, plastic, these craft sticks it goes through very easily. So I just puncture my holes there and then I can start gluing down my sticks. I'm using a combination of super glue from Dollar Tree and hot glue so that way I get the short-term and long-term hold. You can also see that I'm using some of these clamps that I got at Dollar Tree to hold down if they started kind of coming up a little bit until they dried. I want mine to be completely white, so I'm going to take some more chalk paint and I'm going to cover up the craft sticks completely with the chalk paint. To do a little bit of distressing, I'm just going to take my trusty old emery board and I'm just going to go along the edges to kind of rough it up a little bit. You know me, I like to distress things, so I'd go ahead and take my time and make them look a little bit aged. I also then, after I sand with my emery board, I'm going to take some antiquing wax and I'm going to rub it on. I just have it on a baby wipe here, and then I take another one and wipe it off. This way, everywhere that I sanded, it will kind of saturate down into those areas, and when I wipe it off, it will still leave a little bit behind. And you can see it does give it a really good aged look. And then I'll even go with my paintbrush and go along the edges to give it even more dimension. Once I'm satisfied with how they look, I go ahead and reattach the jars. Here's the final product. You can see that distressing up close. I'm very happy with how the distressing turned out. I think these will be very cute to change out the florals in for different seasons, different holidays. My daughter's already claimed them for her room, so I'll be putting them there. These peach flowers, pinkish peach, I guess, will be perfect for her room. But I also think it will be fun fall, Christmas time, spring, to kind of change them up and give them a little bit of a different look. So let me know in the comments what you think of these. As I mentioned earlier, today I am participating in a Thrift Flip Thursday challenge that is hosted by Shayna from Robinson Repurposing and Savannah with Savvy Crafts with Savannah. And this month's co-host is Wendy from Wendy's Creative Space. Check out the links in my description box. There will be a link to the playlist where you can see videos from all different creators who have participated in this month's challenge, as well as links to Shayna, Savannah, and Wendy's channels. They are all amazing ladies, so definitely check out their channels. So I always love to go down the glassware aisle at my thrift store, and I always find some really cool pieces that are there, and they're not very much money. You can see here these range from 50 cents up to $1.50 for each of these items. And in my China hutch, I have a lot of jadeite in there. Now, jadeite is kind of hard to find, original antique vintage jadeite. And when you do find it, it is very expensive. So we're gonna make some faux jadeite today. So I just used this spray paint that is the pistachio color by Krylon. And I'm just going to go give each of these pieces, I end up giving them each 3 coats of the pistachio paint. So I'm just gonna spray each of them, and you wanna make sure that you're doing it in light, even coats. That way it dries very evenly on the glass. I do want to mention that I do let each coat dry thoroughly between going back in and spraying. This took me about 2 days to go through because I wanted to make sure that each layer was completely dried and had a good curing period before I sprayed the next layer on. Then I take this clear glaze by Krylon and I give about 2 coats on each piece with this. This is what's going to really set it off. This is not 100% necessary if you don't have this, but it really does give it that extra shiny look that the jadeite, the original jadeite, has. So then I'm going to take them inside and I go ahead and put all of their lids back on, make sure that their chrome's all polished and everything. This is when they really start to look like fun vintage pieces that you may have found in the antique store or even new pieces. I do want to add that these are not going to be used as food safe items, so they are purely for decorational purposes, and you do want to make sure and wash them really well before you go ahead and spray paint them. Here's a look at my china hutch with these pieces mixed in with some of my real jadeite. I feel like they look so good in there, and it also just makes it look like you've got a really full collection until maybe you find some actual pieces at the antique store or wherever else they're selling maybe some of the new jadeite that you can switch them out for. I feel like it's a really good dupe. Is this something that you guys would try to do? I just feel like it's super inexpensive, it's super easy, and it really does make your china hutch or your shelves in your kitchen look like you've got a lot of really nice pieces. I would love so much to be friends on Instagram. If you haven't already found me, come say hi. I'm just Farm Charm Chic over there. You can see all of the fun things that I like to post on my page here, and hopefully you'll be able to look through it and get some inspiration. I found this pumpkin lantern at the thrift store and originally bought it thinking I was just going to use it for my fall and Halloween decor. However, the more I got looking at it, I decided that I'm going to use it for the thrift flip challenge and give it a makeover. So I don't know if you saw on the tag there, but it was $4, so it was definitely the most expensive item that I got for this month's flip. I'm going to go ahead and remove all of these little plastic beads that are on each little slat around the whole thing. I'm very sorry about the sideways view on this, but this is the metallic paint that I use to cover this with. I'm going to attempt a faux galvanized look on this lantern. I thought that would be the perfect thing to do with it so I could use it on my porch all year long. This is after the first coat. It gives really good coverage, but just in case I missed any areas, I did go back in and give it a second coat. After it was completely dry, I took it into my house and I did remove the handle because quite honestly, it was getting in the way. And I only had elephant chalk paint was the only gray color that I had. So I did lighten it up with some white. And then I'm taking my makeup sponge and clothespin and I'm just going to randomly pounce the paint on all over. Then after I've got enough covered with the lighter paint, I go back in with my true elephant color so nothing is added to lighten or darken it. And I go all over the piece with just the plain elephant color. I do it in a random pattern. I'm being heavy with some pouncing, I'm being light with some. That way you kind of get that inconsistent look that galvanized metal has. Then after I completely get it covered with my elephant color, I'm going to add some black paint to the elephant to darken it up. And then I'm going to go back in with the darker color. This color you don't want as much on there, just kind of do it to your own taste. But I didn't put as much of this one on there. But I felt like it really did start to kind of take the look of the galvanized metal once I got to this point. Then I took this metallic acrylic paint and I didn't put a whole lot of this on, but I did go through and put some on to kind of add a little bit of that shine, because a lot of the base coat does get covered up, but you do want some of that shine. Then I'm mixing up some rust. I just use a brown, a maroon, and an orange, and I mix together, and I go along all the edges with my brush. And this lantern has a raised texture on each little panel it has, so I do rub my brush along each of those to make it look like it was naturally aged. I like to add a little bit of yellow after I've put my rust colors on to kind of make it give a little bit more dimension. This had a really good texture to it, so I did not feel like I wanted to add any cinnamon or baking soda that I've seen other YouTubers do. I have added baking soda. I really like the look of that to it. But I just go through, you can see, just give it a little bit of pops of those colors. And then with the handle, I decided that I wanted to add some wooden beads. So they fit perfectly on there, and so I just went ahead and strung a bunch of wooden beads completely on the handle. And then to give these a little bit of an aged look so they're not totally unfinished, I go in with some antiquing wax and I give them full coverage. This is just Waverly's antique wax. And then once I get enough coverage of this on that I want, I do take some white paint and I dry brush it on just to give it more of an aged, weathered look. And then of course I reattach the handle and kind of bend it into the shape that I want. What do you guys think of this galvanized look? Do you think that I did okay? This was my first attempt at it, so be honest with me. Let me know if I did all right. I'm happy with it though. I think it turned out really good. I'm excited to put it on my porch. I feel like you can get some of those battery operated candles. I think I'm going to get one of those to put in it. I also had the idea of you could stick a little bit of floral in the top, maybe make it like a little bit of a planter. If you didn't have a candle that way during the day, it would have a little bit of visual interest. I just really love how the rust and that metal turned out. I feel like this is something I will use all year long, whereas before, as the pumpkin, I would only be able to use it for just a couple of months. So what do you guys think? I think this might be my favorite that I did out of all of my projects today. Thank you so much for joining me today for Thrift Flip Thursday and all of these projects that I did. You'll have to let me know if you had a favorite down in the comments. Also, check out that playlist. I will go ahead and leave it at the top of my description box. And I just want to say thank you to Shayna and Savannah for hosting this challenge. And I will leave a link to their channels as well as Wendy's from Wendy's Creative Space. So be sure to check them out also. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching today. If you liked the video that you just watched, here's another one that you might enjoy. Also, I would love if you would consider subscribing. And if you do like the videos that you're watching, remember to hit that like button. Thanks so much guys. Have an amazing day.